You're on Island Block Radio, powered by Dash.
What's up, everybody? We're back at the ParBar.
What up?
You're on Island Block Radio, powered by Dash.
Dash.
I'm your host, Mr. Rich D. Joining me, as always, Mr. Vince T.
Yo, what's up, everybody?
Your favorite family members no longer here,
He's in exile.
but Dr. Twister's here. Dr. Twisted is here.
What it do?
Dominic Blas.
Hello.
You got also some guests in the house. The president from the San Diego Guam Club, Josh Borja,
Mr. President.
Half a day.
and one of your local musicians here in San Diego, Colt Perez.
What's up?
The world famous local musician.
Yes.
Yeah, like that.
Hey guys, cheers.
Yeah,
Cheers.
Viva.
Happy
Happy
Friday.
Friday.
Happy Friday.
It's a good way to end the week.
We have a full house on this Friday. It's Mother's Day weekend.
Yes, happy Mom's Day
so
to all the
before,
moms.
Happy Mother's
Since
Day.
we were not going to be spending the ParBar night, Mother's Day, we're going to do it tonight. So it's a good weekend, or starting to a weekend. But we're going to skip the weekly catch-up because the bar is full. There's a lot of news out there to talk about and discuss. Man, Josh,
Half a
you're
day.
back, bro.
I'm back.
We're almost halfway through the year.
Yeah.
Halfway through your presidency?
No, quarter.
Quarter?
Yeah.
First quarter?
First quarter.
First quarter's done.
First quarter is coming to an end.
You guys been doing, but you've been doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
In your first term here.
Definitely been busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I've noticed is you haven't fell off as far as like your involvement in everybody's parties and everything they're doing over there at the Guam Club. If anything, you're even more involved.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, there's a lot of events going on, from square one. I had a meeting with the new administration and trying to restructure it, make it more organized.
Right.
Giving the board of directors like active committees to oversee, and then just working with all the officers as well in regards to all the functions that not just happen at the Guam Club but outside in the Chamorro community. So
Right. That's good. I mean, and that's really what you want to do. You want to make everybody do their work on their part.
yes,
And give them that freedom and trust that their actions are taking care of what they want to be taken care of in those programs.
Correct.
Recently you did that culinary
the
part of-
Fatinas program.
yes.
Fatinas and it's initially it was announced as the Totsu program, but we're changing it to Boca because everybody knows Boca more than the Totsu. Because I guess you can actually misconvey that word because it also means work in Chamorro. So Boca was a little bit more relevant, I guess, too. So the Boca program, which is what was known as the senior lunch program, is still surviving, and because it was a federally funded program by the San Diego County, so it's all done by the Guam Club now. So the Liberation Committee is the one that kicked it off. So to fundraise for the actual coronation coming up, and that's also a program that we have is the Liberation Queen campaign. And so we have girls fundraise for the Guam Club. And so they ran the program for a couple months. And, they're getting ready for the actual coronation. So now I'm taking over for the Boca program / Fatinas. So if they want to learn how to cook Chamorro food, we prep on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. every Tuesday for the following day to cook all the food for not just the seniors, it's for everybody. So it's like $5 for any senior, 62 or older, $7 for members, and $10 for anybody else who wants to
General public.
General public.
So how was that? How was the turnout for the first one?
Not too bad. Actually, we're already making money, so that's the good thing, right? So as long as we're in the black. No, I'm not calling you black, but that's what they call it in accounting terms,
So on that first you said it's Boca, right?
Yeah, Boca.
You guys cook the food and then you guys are able to eat the food at the same time, or you guys sell the food?
We sell it. So we sell it again to the seniors on Wednesday from 12 to 2, or anybody who shows up from 12 to 2 at the Guam Club. So I have a team, a pretty good team right now, from Uncle Herman to Auntie June, and Uncle Sam, who actually is the president from PIFA.
Nice.
Ex-president from PIFA, so he's heavily involved as well. Auntie Jeanette Hawkins, Jeanette Perez, and Randy Camacho, and yeah, so that's pretty much the regulars right now. But
Okay.
anybody's welcome to come and help and donate their times. But what I'm trying to do is make it sustainable, where if there's enough people or enough place that sell, where the program would just be self-sufficient.
Right.
So what I'm trying to do is hit a certain quota every Wednesday. And the sad thing about it is that the reason why UPAC, which is the organization that actually used to run the program, stopped is because of the lack of attendance. So, and it was, to me, too frequent because it was Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But to me, if the food is good, people will come. So, and it's, and they get a value for, and good tasting food for the amount they pay. I think that it's going to create word of mouth. So
I think, and this is probably just me speaking. I think this is the location of where the food is, right?
yeah.
Because if I work downtown, I'm not going to drive outside of downtown to go get food.
Yeah.
I'd love to.
But what we're also doing for that is actually we're gonna start a delivery program.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
I was just gonna ask that.
Yeah, so we're gonna start a delivery program, but minimum 10 per location. So like
that'd be-
to your work. So and then it'll be $10. So $10 per plate, per lunch plate, and we'll deliver to your location. So
I'm only doing if Colt's going to be my driver.
You gotta send my order.
Hey, you got to sing when you deliver to me,
yeah.
baby.
Yeah, I'm working on my Class A, so I think I'll be there pretty soon.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so there's a lot of little things here and there that we're still trying to fine tune and trying to standardize the operating procedure there, because again, it's a very new program for the Guam Club to just take over, and it's going pretty well. So it can obviously use improvement, but I appreciate all the feedback for those who have been attending, and in regards to the taste of the food, to the even just this last week was only our second week, or my second week actually doing it, and they wanted to do a combo, because we served Kanapika ribs, and they laughed because Kanapika is chicken, right? But anyways, so Estefao Pica ribs, and
some small ribs, like chicken ribs.
and we served homemade fried chicken. So, but a lot of them wanted combo last week because we had barbecue chicken and we had a beef stir fry. And so with that said, just getting the feedback, they're like, we met up with the team. They're like, should we do combinations? I was like, you know what? Why not? If that's what they're asking, let's see what happens. And I want to say more than almost 80% of the people there wanted half and half.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, damn. And it was a perfect amount of food and everything, because that's the one thing you'll want to make sure is that you don't overdo the cost, meaning you don't have too much leftovers.
Right.
So it worked out pretty good. And people were asking, what's next week's menu? What's next week's menu? Like,
So what about like the youth, the young kids? 'Cause I would, as great as it is for the Mononco and everybody else, I would think that the youth is a big part of it too, right? You want to get the younger kids in there to learn how to cook their own food and cook the Chamorro food, right?
Correct. And yes, again, that's why we're starting this. And there was actually somebody that signed up already. She didn't show up, but anyways, it was just good that she was interested. So I'll follow up with her and say, hey, we'll still be there next Tuesday if you want to show up and still want to learn how to cook Chamorro food. But they're not just going to learn how to cook right away. To me, you got to earn your stripes.
Right.
So I have
Gotta learn how to wash them dishes.
correct. Start washing the dishes, clean up the mess, make sure the bathrooms are clean, stuff like that,
Yeah.
And this stuff could count as community service
Of course.
for students, right?
Correct.
Because it's a nonprofit organization.
Yep, that definitely can be. And actually, I get approached about that all the time, and that's definitely not a problem.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big win-win if you're doing like both. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you're getting community service and you're learning how to cook,
Yeah.
that's way better than like picking up trash at the beach. Even
Yeah.
though the beach is great,
Yeah.
I'd rather do that cook than
Yeah.
pick up trash at the beach.
Yeah.
Pick up trash, people.
Yeah.
Pick up the trash.
Don't get me started on trash, baby.
There's always going to be somebody to pick up the trash.
Oh, naughty renter. I'll tell you that shit. I'll help, but I ain't gonna be the only one out that
I was
motherfucker.
there. I had to wear an oversized tank top the last time. I was wearing a pajama tank top. Oh, jeez. Okay, I'm here.
So
All
yeah,
right.
that program's going pretty well. Again, it's my second week, but it's been going for a couple months now, and right now it's moving. Just trying to get the word out, and even more in regards to those who are interested. And again, it's a regular Fiesta plate, for the seniors, or $7 for those who are members, and then $10 for the general public. And we get all walks of life actually right now. A lot of different faces I see. So, which is great because they're like, "Oh, this is my first time here. How do I?" I said, "Oh, just right here. Just give me your ticket. What do you want? This is what we have." Like, "Oh, wow!" They're just like surprised.
Yeah, I definitely know that. If you're gonna serve the food, you guys are gonna give like a good amount.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'll tell you right now, like when I go buy lunch in downtown, that shit sucks.
It's a small fortune, dude.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
$12.
Yeah.
Sitting there like with a piece of toast and like some milk.
And half a hard-boiled egg with no yolk.
It's like, how'd you do that?
So that's one of the many programs, and then we got language, dance, which
Yes.
of course you'll be chairing, and so there's a bunch of programs that we're gonna be rolling out every month. So right now the Fatinas and the Boca program is officially taking off,
Nice.
and we're gonna work into the other, I'm gonna call them the preservation programs, which are all the things that are involved with culture. So anything involved with culture, we're gonna try and teach at the Guam Club.
Nice, man. That's good. I'm glad to hear the Guam Club's like moving forward. I mean, I feel like it's nothing's been bad, you know what I mean? But I feel like it's kind of sat there and kind of been like in a middle place, a middle ground. It wasn't really progressing forward. It wasn't going backwards either.
Kind of stagnant.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, but not in a bad way. It was finally good to kind of be there. But now it's good to see that the programs are coming through. Because, I mean, that's what we had talked about in your previous episodes we were with, was it was a learning center. And it's the original culture center here in San Diego.
Right.
Once again, if you're just joining us, we're with Josh Borja, the president here of the San Diego Guam Club. But also, we have Colt.
Half a day?
Uncle, yes.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
You recently joined the new workforce with Twisted, correct?
Yep. San Diego Gas and Electric.
Oh, shh.
Um,
No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I'm still kind of used, so I don't know. I'm sure if I can say that. Copyright.
We do not have permission to use that name.
Yeah, it's a great company. I'm fairly new. Actually, I just started this year, so I'm telling you, it's a great career choice. I think that Chamorro people are far and in between in this company, and especially in high-rated job classes, with some trades going on. So, I feel pretty proud and glad that I'm doing what I'm doing. I was coming up for an electrician, going through the pretty stringent training. It's not easy. It's not a cakewalk. So, definitely being proud. I'm coming out proud with it. Just passed my first 3 weeks of training, which is an official acceptance of the job. So,
Shit. 6 months ago, you didn't realize you'd be. where
yeah,
you're at.
6 months ago, I was still doing whatever, just to stay afloat. And now I got something to look forward to, a nice career.
So you're gonna be an electrician?
Yeah, that's the goal. You know, and 3 years 3 years from now, I think is what's looking like. So
He's got an apprenticeship that he's got to start still.
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's certified through college.
Yeah.
It's like
that's something I've been noticing over the past few years, that a lot of trades are coming back. I know for a while it kind of disappeared, and everybody was just going out and getting their degrees, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But now I think people are realizing, we still need houses built, we still need electricians, we still need plumbers. All the things that make the world go round.
Yeah.
So I see those kind of jobs coming back a lot lately, and I think it's good.
I'm in the manufacturing sector in my professional career, but there's actually a lack of skilled workers
Right.
in the manufacturing sector. So
yeah.
if there's kids out there that want to invest in a trade, by all means, they actually have them in community colleges to learn how to machine, sheet metal, and all that stuff. So there
and
is
a lot of
there's
companies
a
pay
demand.
for that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
There's a demand for it. So
Wait, there's a high school back in Virginia or South Carolina, somewhere back there, that actually has the equivalent to like National Signing Day for athletes, and they have it for their seniors who are going out into trade schools after high school. Yeah, so
cool.
they're celebrating that and really pushing that now. So there is a big push in the schools for the trades to come back, because there is a lack of it countrywide.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that was, and this, I mean, I think that's kind of the misconception that we kind of received in 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. They push college.
They push college, and that you weren't going to make it if you weren't going to go to college.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, well, I got to go to college. And then for those who weren't really into college, where they were like, shit, I guess I'm screwed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and that just isn't the case.
Well,
it'd
just
be
like me, I mean, I
Yeah.
was either college or work. You know, work was what's keeping me afloat. So it's like, man, I have to put college on hold. But now you get the opportunity to work and go to college. You know,
Yeah.
you earn all that good stuff.
The thing is, that there's a large number of people out there in the workforce, in the trades, that have college degrees, but could not get work in that particular
Yeah, it's
field
like lack
that they
of
study.
experience,
Yeah.
yeah.
Lack of experience, or just lack of the jobs out there.
Yeah, missed the windows and all
Right.
that. So, yeah.
But no, it's good that you're where you're at now, Cole. I mean, looking at it as far as Pacific Islanders.
Oh yeah.
Wait,
I mean,
before you go into that, I want to talk to that Pacific Islanders in that workforce. This segment is brought to you by Guahan Grill. I wasn't gonna get you, boy. Guahan Grill. My boy Carlos out there watching too. Guahan Grill here in San Diego. They have 3 locations: Oceanside, Point Loma, and Ocean Beach.
Imperial Beach.
Imperial Beach.
And he's out there watching.
Way to drop the ball, Rich.
Well, let's see if he's still watching.
IB.
Well, there goes that sponsorship.
Imperial Beach.
Take 2.
Yeah. Sorry, man. You know why? Because you were looking at me.
We'll fix it in post.
Yeah. But I must say the IB location is nice.
I think that's
It's
my
really
favorite.
nice. Yeah.
I like it.
I want to see the Oceanside spot since they expanded. I haven't been there.
Oh, that's true.
Wow.
They did expand.
They did.
I heard they even like a private or section
Yeah.
off room.
Yeah,
Everything
section off.
With the
Yeah.
barn
Yeah.
doors.
for a private.
So it
party.
is nice,
yeah.
and tell you right now, the food is good. I know they have like special menus here randomly,
Yeah.
here and there. We got I think it was the parrotfish
Yeah,
one
the
time.
parrotfish.
Oh, that thing was
man.
bomb, dude.
And it's big.
Yeah.
It was like a
The
big
whole
one.
fish,
Yeah.
too, yeah.
My grandpa was excited about that. But yeah, if you're in the San Diego location and you're around the Oceanside, stop by there. If you're in Point Loma, stop by there in IB near the border. Stop by that location.
You know what I had from them? They have the guam bomb, which is the fries.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the chicken and stuff. I substituted the chicken with the poke. I would never do that before ever in my life, but I tried it once because I gave up meat for Lent. So
Yeah.
and that was bomb. So if you guys get the opportunity to substitute that chicken for the poke in your guam bomb, try that out.
Nice.
They're all, we don't offer that.
Yeah.
That's only the hell stop
That's a
That was
secret
only
menu,
for you.
secret
And
menu.
that's because you were playing music.
That's
that
why I
night.
said, like, if you have the opportunity.
Yeah, they're not.
If they
offering
say,
that
And nobody will
if
have
they
the
say-
opportunity.
You
Just
gotta
dumb.
do the secret Islander call.
all
Start
right.
going in and out, and you're like, oh, let me get the animal. If you say like monster, like I did, but it does look at you funny.
Yeah, the
have
granilla.
a
Let me get the
monster.
granilla style fries. The what? Huh? Granilla style. I think it means gorilla.
that substitute guy on the ParBars talked to about
We
it.
also want to give a shout out to all the people joining us on the live.
Yep.
But back to Twisted's topic, he was going into Pacific Islanders in that workforce, which is what did you say earlier as far as the name of the workforce?
So what Cole's getting into is the power grid,
Power grid.
power grid electrician. So as far as power grid transmission and distribution, the presence of Pacific Islanders in that particular field is pretty low.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know of 3 now at my company that are Pacific. Actually, no, 4 that I know of that are Pacific Islanders in that trade. And that's not a lot. That's not a lot for a company as big as we are.
Well, yeah. It's
Of-
not as we are.
Of being an electrician?
Electrician
Yeah.
or distribution lineman, yeah.
Mm.
So the numbers are small.
Yeah,
That's probably because they probably put electric tape on everything.
Yeah, bro, but if they knew, it's like climbing a coconut tree, but you have hooks on your feet.
oh yeah, you got all that safety equipment.
Like, hey, bro, I can do that.
Give me some foil. I'll connect the wire.
Yeah, no, and it's funny because today was like our finals, right? So I passed all the finals, did good.
100%.
100%.
Good job.
Nerd. He's a booger eater.
All right, hold on. Whoa.
Yeah, I was like, man,
How many questions are
Get me
there?
glasses after
4.
this.
What's your name? Where were you born? Where are you going after you leave here?
Yeah.
Who's your
What time
daddy?
is it?
No, and it's
Who's your
funny 'cause
daddy?
That's
What does he do?
Was saying, you know,
Who's
they were
your
like,
Nino?
they're like,
What
"Man,
does he
this test
do?"
is too easy. And I'm like, it's too easy when you study. When you study, it becomes easy. You know what I mean? So, and then they were like, well, I want you to introduce yourself, you know, this and that. You know, around the class. So when it came to me, they're like, yeah, you know, I'm born and raised in Guam. And they're all like kind of surprised, like, oh, really? Because everybody was like local, you know, like born and raised here in San Diego. And
You're Cuban
you know,
from
yeah,
Guantanamo?
they're like, oh, you're from Guam. I'm like, yeah.
From
like,
Guatemala?
Yeah. And also, you know, all my friends and family call me Ko. And they were like, what? I'm like, Ko, or you know, Ko, if you can't say the Ko. And they're all like, oh, okay. So now everybody's trying to get that name in line, you know, just get the representing.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I
the
called him. I
culture,
called
you
him
know.
Colt
Yeah, no.
For the longest time.
for like the first 3 months.
I was like, who's that Kobe guy? Kobe.
And they didn't know, and you guys didn't know I was saying that until I fucking wrote it out.
If he didn't have it written on his hand, I wouldn't know what his name was.
I got Cole.
They're like, I was
Cole.
like, they're like, no, it's Colt. I'm like, how the hell do you get Colt from Franklin? They're like, well, it just keeps on breaking down into smaller.
Yeah, you know, you'll get there.
Interesting.
I mean, there's a K in my, you know, in Frank, so.
No, well,
Start from
Frank
there.
Colt.
congratulations on your new career venture.
Yeah,
All the
So,
best.
yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah, congratulations. And
Yeah.
if you're out there and you need you know, a trade, electrician is obviously not oversaturated with the Pacific Islanders.
Thanks.
It's not
Get into it.
unreachable, you know what I mean? So.
Find the apprenticeship program in your wherever you're at that's out there. Look for your IBW local, and they have the apprenticeship programs, and get in there. Get yourself a good solid trade.
Yeah.
Solid, bro.
Solid.
That's
And
awesome.
It doesn't have to be an electrician either. You got all
be
kinds
No,
of
there's a
I actually
lot
have
of
a buddy
lines,
that's in welding right now.
Yeah.
He's on his second year and he's almost done with school, I think. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, all the trades out there that they have to do with utilities. I mean, all around, just we're looking for people. So if you're out there, you don't want to climb poles, you don't want to mess with electricity, you want to mess with gas, you want to do asphalt, concrete work, whatever it is. All those jobs are out
Construction,
there. Any
maybe.
kind of utility construction jobs are out there waiting. So
nice. Yeah, congratulations, brother.
Thanks.
Okay, so some of the more heart of the conversation today. Once again, last week we had a couple buddies out here from Hawaii.
Yeah.
So I guess this is something that's going to be round table because you know we're all Micronesian for the most part.
and it is a topic that we have discussed before.
Yeah, it is a topic we haven't discussed before, but it was different to have some insight from somebody who's from Hawaii,
Right.
who's Hawaiian, who's also an activist in Hawaii, and then have a different of opinion, or not an opinion, but like a different view on Micronesians out there.
Right.
Okay.
So, and not that he was ever saying something like not a fan of them.
Right.
I think it was more along the lines of there's just so many of them, and there's just Hawaii's not able to take care of them all.
Right. And what took them to the island is what he was pushing, you know, like the conversations that he was having with people when they would talk bad about Micronesia.
Right.
And he's like, well, you know, what do you expect? I mean, these people, they didn't come here on their own accord. They were pushed out of their own island because of the bombings that the U.S. government did.
Right.
That's how they ended up here. You know, they're refugees. That's the thing. They are refugees.
No, and so we're talking about places like Palau, Chuk, Marshall Islands. You know those areas, and then the government uproots them, moves them to wherever they can. I believe he said there's Hawaii. What was the other one? Colorado,
Guam,
Even
Oklahoma.
Guam,
Yeah.
Oklahoma was one of them.
Oklahoma. I think Minnesota was another
Minnesota.
one.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like,
Yeah, I think there's
way out
actually a
there.
documentary on, I don't know if it's on YouTube or if it's on like Netflix, but there was one about like the Palau community out there.
In Oklahoma?
Yeah,
Really?
no,
Wow.
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
It was in Minnesota,
That's
I believe.
crazy.
So and it's abundance of them, and
Man,
then there was
that's a
like
big
one
difference
guy who
right
was
there.
really,
Yeah, that
because
is
people were
true.
like kind of nervous about them coming out there, like you know, just like they're way too different, but they actually helped the community come together.
Oh, nice.
Right.
Because of the way they were,
Yeah.
and they would like they're really into like farming and like taking care of the land.
Yeah.
And so, from them being from an island, they taught them in Minnesota how to use the land, even in cold conditions.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it was actually a pretty
Interesting.
interesting.
It's on
con-
Netflix?
I'm gonna have to
Yeah, I
look
think it's
that
on
up,
Netflix or
man.
YouTube.
Okay, I'll check that out.
So anyway, so the conversation. Mark, you want to take this one about where we were and kind of like.
Yeah, so
reviews?
we were just kind of hanging out, and the topic came up about the Micronesians in Hawaii, and I asked him, what his opinion was, because we had the conversation and we had some guests on the show before, and he was telling us the same thing. That the people, they're refugees, and it's just the U.S. government was supposed to be funding all this money to take care of them. He goes, and every time it's approved, at the last minute, it's the money is stopped. So they're not the people. The state of Hawaii is not receiving the money that these people need to sustain themselves. So what happens is it all falls on the taxpayers and the citizens of Hawaii to take care of them.
Right.
And
That's where it stems from.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people are upset about, is because they're forking out the dough from their own paychecks and the taxes to take care of them, feed them, and house them, and everything else, and give them medical care and everything. And it's kicked up. We've said it before. The homeless population in Hawaii is greater than any state here on the mainland. They have the highest homeless rate out there, and a lot of it is the Micronesians because they have nowhere to go. And you're looking at an island like Hawaii where land is being taken away from the indigenous people or the native people there. A lot of them people don't even have land or a place to live. So here you throw a bunch of people from other islands onto another island. Where are they going to go from there? So, but he was not of the opinion of, they Micronesian people on Hawaii suck or anything like that. He said, in fact, he's actually gotten pissed off in conversations with people when they say something like that. He's like, he gets real defensive about it.
Because people base their stuff off of stuff they don't really understand.
Exactly, and that's what he has to point out to them, that they're not here of their own choice.
Yeah.
They were pushed out, and
now they're
they are
victims.
refugees. Yeah, and they're victims of what the U.S. government did to their islands. They have nowhere to go. Their home was basically poisoned with radioactive, the atomic bomb testings and stuff during the war. So, yeah, he's a real advocate for them. And Rich.
And I want to get you guys' opinions, kind of like what you guys think about that. Is it, well, there's also then a bad reputation they create for themselves, or some create for themselves.
Right.
Some bad apples. But before we get there, this next segment is brought to you by Island Block Concert Series, May 17th, Maoli in Anaheim, House of Blues. You can get your tickets at
Ticketmaster. No, you can hit up Joe Sav on Instagram. I'm sure you got plenty of tickets left. Or maybe not. So you might want to hit him up soon.
So Maoli's coming again, coming May 17th.
Those boys good.
Those boys are good, man.
They were real good.
Yeah, you think they're gonna sing their country song, the country cover?
think they
Gotta-
should.
they-
They have to, right?
They have to.
Is that bad? That's like one of their biggest songs.
No, it's awesome.
Nah, I like. They
Hey.
have a lot of good songs though.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what? You know what doing that does? Like playing a country song does. It grabs people from different.
Grabs you
yeah.
right there by the
a different.
cojones,
Yeah.
right there.
Like, do you think they would be exposed to
coming
like a
for,
country
listen to
audience
this.
if they didn't do that cover?
Probably not.
That's what I'm saying.
Good
Doing
point.
something like that is good for them and growing their fan base.
So that's May 17th once again in Anaheim. They're playing at House of Blues up there. Get your tickets from
Joe Sav.
Joe Sav or
Joe
Q
Sav. Yep.
on the morning ride. Was it 6 to 10?
Yes. 6
Monday
to
through
10 a.m.
Friday. Yeah.
Only on Dash Radio.
You're on-
Almost.
you're on- yeah.
Almost sit there in the corner. Knock it off.
Turn his
Well, they
mic
got to
off.
download the app. You got to
Um,
download the Dash app.
You do got to download the app.
Thank you.
But also a big shout out to all the people who are joining us live. We also have Abraham who just jumped on. Thank you guys for joining with us. We have Josh Borhoff from the San Diego Guam Club, the president, and Colt, who's also a local musician and in the workforce here. Electrician.
Currently on tour, his world tour.
Oh, nice, nice.
His world tour of San Diego.
Of
My
local
new
South
song's
Bay.
gonna be Substations.
So, question is, do you feel like, okay, one, is it the Micronesians who are uprooted from their home and placed into a new position? Because I can only imagine. You imagine if like you were here in San Diego and the government was like, look, You got to go, and you can't even move anywhere else onto another island. You got to move to Oklahoma.
Were they given anything like were they subsidized anything? Where they just like got a plane ticket and then okay, here you're going to Hawaii and that's it?
They pretty much gave them citizenship.
That's it.
That's it.
And
That's why they were able to come to mainland. So the ones that were able to make it to the mainland U.S. are here. The other ones that couldn't afford it either stopped in Guam or Hawaii. That's as far as they could get. So you just imagine that journey from their island, Guam, Hawaii, mainland.
mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
So to me, I'm thinking in my head like, man, I'd be pissed too, and if you couldn't find work right away, you don't know anybody anymore.
Well,
Language
it's a
is
totally
different.
different culture. You
Yeah.
know, just a
Different
totally
language,
different
even
lifestyle.
if you don't know.
And you have a
especially if you don't know
language barrier?
English. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
So then you kind of see where
Well-
the alcoholism starts kicking in.
Mhm.
Yeah, that
You start
depression
falling,
kicks in.
depression kicks in.
Yeah.
But what do you guys think? What do you guys
Well,
think? Is it?
Not just the stemming from the bad things, but when I heard about the bad things, you know. But well, for me, my opinion would be to educate them, have an educational program as soon as they get there, in regards to and try to find opportunities for them already, you know, as soon as they get there, because before they get into the bad situation, even educate them on regards to all this freedom that you're gonna have and access to all this
And let 'em
alcohol,
know what
drugs,
the
and, all, and
differences
so
are,
on,
yeah.
because there's a lot of temptations that they don't know and realize that is there here in the U.S.
Yeah.
So we are raised in regards to by our parents to stay away from that.
Right.
But when they're just given like, okay,
In abundance.
yeah, like wow, I can do all this, and the next thing you know, they just go the wrong way. So to me, it's an educational thing, and I understand even if it's English, if they need to learn English, you know. So to me, breaking it down into an educational type of aspect is where I would start, regardless of what it is that they want. You know, if they need help for recovery, if they need help to find a job, if they need help for finding a home or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Because the U.S. is a land of opportunity. It's what you do with it. But I understand that they're not used to the culture or the lifestyle.
Yeah.
So that again, to me, if they are educated in regards to what they need to learn in regards to the culture, the American culture or whatever, wherever they're at.
Yeah.
You know, so I would actually reach out to each of these leaders, and you said they're everywhere, right? They're in Missouri, Oklahoma, Minnesota, and so if they have community leaders, I would reach out to them and see what they can do to create educational programs because there are actually government programs already that exist for everybody.
Right.
You know,
But if you don't, I mean, if you
they
don't
don't
know how to
know.
speak if you don't speak English alone right there, then you're not gonna look to the government to help you with more.
Yeah, but the thing is that those programs are funded by the government, and if that money that's supposed to be funneled into that program is stopped and used somewhere else, then that program ceases to exist.
That's another thing too.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
and that's I don't imagine. Well, let me think. If it's okay, so if Hawaii's having that issue, would you assume that other states are having that issue?
Well, you got to think about it. So, they get this big pot of money for this program, and that money is dissipated throughout all the different states. So the mainland's going to get the majority of it. They're going to take care of the mainland first, and then whatever territories it's like Guam. Guam's federal funding is very low. What they would get, I mean, if you look at it on the scale, it's probably the lowest one out of all the states and territories.
Right.
So when you're looking at even Hawaii, how the U.S. government basically forced these people to an island that they're not from. Oh, yeah, we're going to give you all this, but you know what? We're going to use this money over here instead. And it's like that every year when that budget comes up, from what Davis was telling us.
Right.
So, yeah, there are programs out there, but without the money
Without the funding.
the funding to support it, they're going to cease to exist.
What do you, as I think Dom and even Vince T or even Cole, what do you think about so they come over here and then they go to Hawaii, and then they run into the alcoholism like we were talking about. But then there also has to be some kind of transitional period between some time where you're failing, and then there has to also be a time where you have to succeed at some point, right? Because this isn't just happening recently. This is happening throughout the last couple decades,
40s,
right?
Since the 40s.
Right. So, I mean, at some point, there has to be a turning point, right?
Well, turning point is rock bottom for some people, though. You know what I mean?
True.
And some people's rock bottom is lower than You know what I mean?
Anybody up here can imagine.
So like, if you're already behind, and you have to, I don't know, it's tough, man. Sometimes when you get down there, it's hard to pull yourself back up. That's why those programs that Josh was talking about, if they were implemented, they would help these people greatly.
Yeah, just like a welcoming committee.
Yeah,
As simple as that.
that would be
you know?
huge.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Start there.
Yeah.
If whoever's coming, I mean, some of these maybe at least I'm envisioning if it's happening since the 40s, there has to be community leaders or people that are successful already too, because there's good and there's bad, right? So, but we always hear the bad. Find those ones that can become leaders for their communities, and see if they can be the leaders to help. At least start with the ones that are coming in. As the ones that are there, have been there a while, it's already like a mature stage of depression or whatever it may be, or in regards to being in a bad sense of being out here in the U.S.
Right.
Because I don't know. For me, you got to start from ground zero, and ground zero. Some of them already been here for a while, right? So
Right.
they already understand. I like to relate it back to business because I'm so used to business. So like you got a mature product. A person that's been here for a while, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. So I want to try and catch those ones that are here right now and see if I can make a positive effect on them before they go south.
Because they're still fresh.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, and then try to see and still reach out. I'm not saying don't reach out to the ones that are here already and went south, but start with the guys that are fresh.
You're spoiled. Can't help it.
No, give them an option.
You're mean.
And then once you
Give 'em an
start,
option way out, or
Give them hey, you know what? We're looking for some electricians.
But the thing is, you got to look there. It's got to be a huge culture shock because you look at people are coming
I can imagine.
from an area where the lifestyle is very laid back.
Yeah.
And then you're coming to mainland United States,
Oh,
and
man,
it's
yeah.
just a
Well, that's
fast pace.
when Josh was just saying, like, he goes, you can imagine like when you're on the islands, and especially in like Palau or the
Marshall Islands.
the Marshall Islands, where you don't have a liquor store on every corner.
Right.
All I could imagine was like myself at 19 when I had like a fake ID in Vegas.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my God, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. No one cares.
Kid in a candy store,
Yeah,
man.
no one cares that I'm here.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's horrible. In thinking in my mind now, I'm like, dude, I can imagine that being an adult at, a certain age and
No, yeah,
getting
it's
uprooted.
crazy.
Yeah,
Even the
it's
ones that
nuts.
choose like me, I chose to come out here. You know what I mean? I had a choice, and I chose to come out here, and even with that was a culture shock.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That took some adjusting.
Yeah,
And imagine the ones that
You're like, this
are
doesn't look
forced
like
out here.
MTV.
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
I like to, in regards to
But-
culture
It's
shock,
serious.
I like
So-
to relate to the, damn, I have to buy a coconut now?
I never paid for a fruit in my life.
No, right?
Ever. Now I'm buying mangoes.
Avocados.
At home, I got 8 mango trees. I'll never buy mangoes.
You can't go to the A&PM and buy
And that's weird.
pugwa.
Hey, it's even weird because when we go back there, they're like, dude, there's mangoes everywhere.
Big idea all over again.
Yeah, over here, you got to go to Mexico to get a damn coconut.
So let me ask you, when you were on when you're on Guam, did you have any like kind of bias or like prejudice towards people from Chuk or Palau?
I think that's. I don't want to say yes or I don't want to say no. I mean, I think that's everywhere. Everybody's got a little bit of prejudice from something that's a little bit different from what you're used to. You know what I mean? But there's still. I had plenty of friends. I had plenty of friends that are from Chuk, from the Philippines, from Pohnpei. All over the Micronesian islands. You know what I mean? And it's just what you make of it. You know what I mean? I think there's always a little bit of prejudice and everything because you don't fully understand what these guys are like or what these guys are like. Until you understand that, then it becomes better.
But those guys can play volleyball.
Oh man, I tell you, they're strong. They're strong.
I watch on my team.
That's our president right
Yeah,
there.
I mean, that's kind of like even on our side, at least in California, right? Like we have how they have like issues with, I guess, immigration we have our issues here with illegal immigration and immigration. And federally, I mean, I guess we're more funded, but I can only imagine like the struggle that they're having because they're not they're not coming over illegally. They're getting put in legally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
refugees.
Right.
Which is
They're
different,
not-
you know what I mean?
they're not immigrants.
Yeah, that's man.
But again, I think if they had some type of educational program,
Programs, yeah.
and as soon as they got set
Even
foot-
before they leave island,
yeah,
probably.
you know,
Right.
give them something educational. It's like this is
Yeah.
where you're going. This is where are you going? Okay, here's like a little pamphlet about that city. Read on
All
if you have any
transition.
questions.
Transition, man.
But you know the thing is though, is you think about if this has been going on this long, when they get there and they get into their community, they're probably also being fed from those people. This is the way that it is for us over here.
Mhm.
You know, so then right away they're fed the negative side of it, so they're gonna be on that defensive,
Mhm.
right? Because this is how the locals treat us.
Yeah.
You know, just a thought.
Sorry about that. Had to get a beer.
Yeah, because Jay the bartender's not here.
But yeah, it was a deep conversation for sure, and I hope the best for our Micronesian brothers, our island people out there in Hawaii. You know, and anywhere they are and misplaced. Like Josh said, try to get help and try to start programs out there. If you're one of the community leaders, if you're out there and you can be one, try to help out. But I also want to share, say thank you to Aloha Aina Point Company for talking with us about the conversation.
Yeah.
It was a deep one. It was a good one too. So I don't think we know if we solidified anything, but get help.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's out there for sure.
Conversation starter for sure.
So we're gonna go into our last segment, which it should be a fun one.
Yeah.
But before we get there,
Shit, here we go.
this segment is brought to you by the ParBar podcast radio show. We have a show. We have a show.
Yes, we got
Have
a show.
a show.
We got a
We
show.
have a show.
And we got an event coming up.
Event May 24th.
It's a huge event. Tell your
May
mama.
24th at L. Smith Brewing Company.
Yes.
You have that address?
L. Smith. It's on L. Smith.
99.
9990 L. Smith Court, San Diego, California, zip code 92126.
Up there in the
That is,
Miramar area.
Yep.
So we do have Untitled. The band is called Untitled playing.
That's gonna be bad.
But we have a badass backline. I mean, they're badass alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell
And
yeah.
then the lineup behind them. That's
But the
gonna,
backup band for them isn't even a backup band. It's like headliners.
Yeah.
How do we
so-
get that? Shit.
Yeah.
Just because we're the ParBar.
So we do have Swells on the keys. We have our brother Caleb. He's
Yes.
drummer for
Leilani
was
Wolfgram?
drummer for Leilani
Oh, okay.
Wolfgram, but he also drums for a lot of big bands up there in L.A.
Right on.
And then I met him once. His guy Aaron.
Oh,
he's
yeah, he's
Sammy
cool.
J's. He
player.
did sound for CCF, and
Yep.
he's Sammy J's bass player.
Oh, okay. Aaron, big Aaron.
That's tight.
Yeah,
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 and then
dude.
you have the three siblings, Samoa and Tongan siblings, singing on the front. Oh man, it's gonna be killer.
Yeah.
know
So I'll
what's
tell you what now.
I showed some people the flyer, and they knew them right off the bat.
Nice.
Not even Pacific Island like blood.
Wow.
So they
just-
were
yeah.
American Idol contestants.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So all three of them.
them.
So they're really good. And guess what else? The event's free.
Woo!
Just come and
wait.
drink and hang out.
Wait,
Well, the
what?
beer's not free.
Hey,
Y'all
dude.
got- y'all
Beer
got-
not free though.
Part.
To get in
free.
is free,
Yeah.
and it's all
To
ages.
get in
correct?
is free.
All
Part.
ages.
To
It's
get
all
in
ages.
is
All
free.
ages, so you guys can
And
bring your
it's
families
all
out.
It's a free event, all ages. We'll have a patio. We'll have
Gwen's
Tony
family?
Gwynn's gourmet food truck
Yep.
out there. It's going to be a great event. Actually, and if you missed the first one, it was fun.
Yeah.
Josh was there. You had a
Yeah, it
good
was
time?
good times. Good times.
And if you bring your kid, we'll have rock throwing contest.
Yeah.
You can throw
back-
that
the
black-
beanbag.
black
Use the
Nissan
beanbag.
truck That's gonna be out there.
Yeah, black
The
Nissan or
corn,
blue
was that
Nissan
the
truck.
corn?
All right. So that's once again May 24th down here in San Diego, L. Smith. So before we run out of time, because we're coming up on that time, the fun one. So Colorado decriminalizes psychedelic mushrooms.
Yeah.
Dom, give us a little bit of the positive of why this is a positive thing before and history on it before we jump into our own opinions on it.
Oh man, you're throwing me. I mean,
You're the one who posted all the shit earlier.
Okay. Well,
Well, I back him on it because I was reading the same thing he was reading
yeah.
too. So we're,
Well, I
Great.
was, our family has been stricken, or has been affected by cancer.
yeah.
So I was doing like research online for certain treatments and things like that. And I come across a study that a well-known college professor, he gave his mother, along with a diet and other treatments, he fed her mushrooms, and I believe her tumors, I think it was breast cancer, but she ended up going into remission.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
And also part of my research, it wasn't psychedelic mushrooms, in general, but it bled into what I was reading and listening to and watching, and it had people who take psychedelic mushrooms, specifically smokers. 80% of those people are able to stay off cigarettes for the rest of their life. Also, in terminal patients, patients that are, diagnosis is basically you're just waiting. They found that taking psychedelic mushrooms reduces their anxiety from fear of death.
Right.
And then Mark, what would you have to add?
So Colorado today, in a slim vote, voted to decriminalize psychedelic mushrooms. It looks like it's going to be on the 2020 ballot in Oregon, and California is probably going to follow close behind for a second attempt to get this done. And the FDA is actually jumping on board, and they're endorsing it because of all the studies that have been taking place. All these different universities have been doing studies on psychedelic therapy. And what they're finding is under a treated and guided mushroom trip is what they're calling it, it can help to stop addictions to cocaine, heroin, smoking, alcoholism. And the FDA's backing this right now because of the increase in suicides because of depression. Mm-hmm. And it's helping people with their depression and to get rid of that feeling of worthlessness. They're using it for treatment of veterans for PTSD. Mm-hmm. And so there's a big push on it right now.
That's pretty interesting. Overall, I never heard about anything about psychedelic mushrooms besides putting it on my pizza. No, I'm just joking. No, but for us.
But they put it in my soup.
Wait.
No,
What the hell is a psychedelic mushroom?
It's any kind of mushroom with amounts of what is it? Psychotic, not psychotic.
Psychedelic.
It's called it's a substance. It's a substance called psilocybin.
psilocybin,
which is like
psilocybin.
But okay, we get it. So there are benefits of it.
Yeah.
Question.
All right.
And let's round table this because we're running out of time. Is it by legalizing marijuana? Have we now just opened up that rabbit hole
it's the gateway
for
drug.
every drug?
for every other drug?
I think
Let's start with Dom.
Maybe, but also there, these things are been studied for years and years.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of other countries that have decriminalized drugs and treated addiction as a disease
Rather than
just
a social problem.
Yeah. So I think if there's anything positive, it's getting people help that need help.
Right.
And not making them fear consequences, legal consequences, going to jail. Like, how many people are in jail or in prison right now for weed or anything like that? You know what I mean? I think, I don't know.
Cool.
I agree with Dom here. I think it does, maybe it does open up a gateway for other drugs, but, there are drugs that are made for the high, and there are drugs that are given, you know what I mean? Like marijuana, mushrooms, right? Mushrooms are a natural substance. So,
organic.
and I think all the research that are being done, I think it's a good thing.
And just to add on to that, like, how much there are so many problems in the nation or all over the world that have to do with over medication of pharmaceutical narcotics. You know what I mean? And that's another addiction that can be treated that needs to be addressed as well. But like I feel like I don't do drugs, but I feel like anything that you don't have to tamper with, chemically or whatever, I think it should be decriminalized.
Right.
Vince T.
Is it a gateway? I think it's a gateway.
But by legalizing marijuana, have we opened up the gateway to now start decriminalizing other drugs?
I think only if the drug has a positive reinforcement to it. Like they said, it's been studied for years, right? I don't think crack will ever be legal.
No.
No.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So anything that they can prove that has a positive reinforcement and has health benefits, I think yeah.
Well, I mean, Vicodin has a positive effect. It numbs you up to pain, so that's positive.
And they gave that out, right?
Yeah, but that's not a good thing because people get also addicted to Vicodin.
It's an opiate.
Well, any substance should be regulated. I mean, you shouldn't just be on it all the time.
Yeah, I agree.
Cheers. No, but yeah, that's my take.
So
Twisted. Make it fast.
Yeah. So at one time in this country, cocaine and heroin was legal. It was actually given out by doctors to numb pain and
Treat ailments.
This is
treat
shrooms.
No, I'm talking about legalizing a gateway drug. So like I said, at one time, heroin, cocaine, those were legal. Those were actually prescribed as medicines to people. Now, talking about the shrooms, when you talk about psych patients and the medications that they're on, those medications are limited. The scope of treatment that those medications actually treat, it's very limited. And what it causes is different side effects that causes them to be medicated with something to counter that side effect. Yeah. And eventually, that side effect needs to be medicated. Or with the studies that they've shown with these mushrooms, they're not having to deal with that. They do a treatment or two on these mushrooms, and it's under a therapist's watch, and they guide them through this trip, and it brings them off of their whatever.
And they don't even have to keep using it.
No,
it's after like a few uses.
Yeah, it's not, and it's something that's not an addictive narcotic, so to speak. It's not an addictive drug. It's a natural thing, and like there's people that have taken mushrooms and done it one time and never touched them again. But then there's also studies that people have taken them and had a bad trip.
Yeah.
And but they're saying even those people with those bad trips, if they seek out, which they say that 88% of those people have sought out psychiatric help, those psychiatrists were able to guide them through that bad trip and save them from that bad trip. So,
before I get to Josh, we have Abraham who's on. He said he said no as far as the legalization of the marijuana being a gateway drug. He said he's seen people get off drugs. He sees a lot of people getting off drugs, and he's happy to see it for himself. So big a shout out to Abraham.
Thanks, man.
Josh, do you feel like the legalization of marijuana has put us down into this rabbit hole of digging deeper?
I say I agree with Abraham. It's not because if it's to help people, to me, this is worse than anything else. This is the gateway to all drugs.
Shut your mouth.
Well, that's the last time Josh will be on the stage.
Cut that mic off.
so like we said on May 24th.
Who invited him?
Oh man.
So
ParBar's
talk
going
about
down.
gateway.
ParBar is going down.
Who invited this guy?
This is getting a little bit deep.
Hey, so you all
We're
know
gonna have ATF in here real,
Yeah,
real
like
soon.
Josh is on a trip right now,
This
guys.
fucking Antifa dude in here.
So, but
You long-haired hippie.
All right.
But yeah, I. So to answer that question, no, I don't think it's gonna dig us deeper to down a rabbit hole. You guys already said all the good points. The pros and the cons. So if it's to help a person in a positive way, and to get them off and get them to on their own feet without drugs,
Yeah.
then no, it's not. So.
And just to wrap it up, I think I was with Dom right when you brought in the prescription medicine. I believe more people get addicted to those.
Oh yeah.
And those are worse.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people addicted to pills, and that gets really bad.
There's documentaries.
Pills have bigger side effects.
Yeah.
And that's the
I mean,
epidemic going on right now, with the Oxycontin and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When when you are taking like your So it's so bad you're you're trying to steal prescriptions from people.
Professional athletes.
Yeah, man. So,
Damn.
Yeah, there's documentaries on that.
if I mean, I won't do shrooms.
Nah,
I don't even smoke weed, so
Hey, we should try it and do a show.
Hey, fried mushrooms are good though.
I'm gonna let that part out.
we should do mushrooms and do a show.
I do. Pepperoni and mushroom on my pizza.
I'm like, anybody else feel like a Jack Terrier and there's a snake in front of them? Start biting.
Be like freaking what is it? Super bad.
Anyway,
Where he's like,
oh yeah.
I don't try anything but dicks. All day.
What? Okay, folks. So with that said,
Next subject.
Okay,
Back to the question.
you're on Island Block Radio.
Rewind.
Vince, you could edit that one out, right?
Oh, I'm gonna put that to the max.
That's gonna be my ringtone, son. Right when he calls me, that's what you can hear. All right. With that being said, we're gonna get out of here. You're listening to Island Block Radio, Post of the Pacific, where paradise
paradise
lives.
lives.
Estelators.
Shoots. No,